Hello, everyone, and welcome to Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. In the news, producers sold 4,634 head of preconditioned cattle at the September Northeast Texas Beef Improvement Organization, or Net Bio sale, held Wednesday in the Sulphur Springs Livestock Commission auction market. David Fowler, the co-owner of the Livestock Commission, said that they had a lot of good cattle consigned to the sale, and there was a lot of interest from the buyers, both those at the sale and some buying over the internet. He said a total of 1,181 head sold to buyers over the internet. A total of Net Bio member producers sold cattle at the sale. 19 buyers purchased all the cattle for an average of $786.73 per head. 2 more sales are scheduled this year, one next month and one in November. 2 lifelong friends have been selected as posthumous recipients of the Paris Junior College 2019 Distinguished Alumni Award. The late Barney W. Bray III, class of 1964, and also Thomas Cedric Tommy Townsend, class of 1963. They will be honored during PJC's 2019 homecoming festivities. That'll be November 9th at the Love Civic Center. Bray passed away July 30th, 2018, and Townsend died November 18th of 2013. The Distinguished Alumni Award is the highest honor bestowed on alumni by the college. Bray was a member of the PJC Board of Regents, and Townsend was well connected throughout Austin and the state capitol, where he not only represented PJC, but also advocated for issues which benefited the college and his hometown.
September being National Emergency Preparedness Month, we're talking to emergency management coordinators for our community, and today bringing in Sulphur Springs Police Chief Jason Ricketson into the conversation.
I think Andy's talked to you a little bit about what the county does, so kind of fill you in on what the city does. We do a lot of the same stuff that the county does, but when it comes down to it, we do have a couple of differences that the county, I guess, does not have. One of the main things we have in the city is we have emergency outdoor sirens. We have 18 of those sirens that are strategically placed around the city to warn residents of severe weather coming to the area. Another thing that we have, probably the county doesn't have, is we have more of a dense population. So if we do have something actually happen in town, usually it affects more people than it does per se in the county.
Okay. So would today be a day that you've had some calls?
Yeah, today started off with a bang. Had a lot of flash flooding, a lot of the city streets that do flood. They go down pretty quickly, but they flood pretty quickly as well. We did have a lot of vehicles stuck in high water this morning.
Really?
Yep.
So the car stalled out?
Well, we try to warn everybody, when you can't see the road, please turn around. But sometimes people have to get to where they're going and they drive through the high water and the cars flood out.
Well, that's true. First thing in the morning. You got to get to work, school, etc. You just go ahead on through.
And that's what I'd like to really stress, how much we appreciate Chief Ricketson coming in this morning, because he's been really busy out there with all of his crews, with the police department, the fire department out, doing those type of recovery on the vehicles and getting people out of the cars. So him taking out the time this morning, we really appreciate that. But because they do, that's things, they always have those certain areas. It's like I said, there's really nothing else that they can do, because they are open drainage and they drain down quickly as fast as they rise. But just part of the things that's ongoing, and the thing we stress is that turn around, don't drown type program is out there, and that's things of preparedness that we always promote.
We have adequate infrastructure here in Sulphur Springs that helps everything drain out like it ought to, if we don't get just a flood of water at once.
Yeah, it just depends on how much it rains. Like I said, most areas go down really quickly, but it's that time while it's still raining, they're trying to drain, and the constant rain on top of it, because a lot of the city streets flow to those certain drainage ditches, and that's usually where we have the areas.
I would say thank you to Imelda for bringing us rain, though.
Oh, yes. We definitely need it.
Yes, for sure. And that's things that I'll check on with the other cities that we also help take care of Como and Cumbie and Tyra. Towers, they really don't have the infrastructure that Como and Cumbie has, just due to their county roads and FM roads in the Tower area. But the Como and Cumbie area, we check with them, make sure they don't have any flooding issues or anything like that going on in their area, which they have so far have not reported back to me on anything, so we must be good.
Okay. Well, all that's good to know. And it makes me wonder, we're just getting the remnant or after effects of Imelda, but in a city where a storm would really, really affect its population, do municipalities have a bigger crew that comes in there then, or does everyone...
We tried to be a little proactive like this. We did have a lot of the barricades that were staged yesterday in our problem areas, so when the water does start rising, we can get those barricades out. But, if it's like Houston yesterday, I think some places got, 40 inches of rain?
Yeah.
There's no way to prepare for that.
No.
I mean, it's one of those, you take it as it comes. That's kind of part of the whole emergency management. You never know what's going to come. We always prepare for the worst, but pray for the best.
Well, do you think a city like that calls in reserves? We may not know.
They're going to call in additional support to probably help try to get people out of the houses. But, as of that point, there's really nothing you can do except for wait the water to go down.
Okay.
You're going to have those victims that are out there.
And the state does come in at that point. Texas Department of Emergency Management, they come in, they bring in the task force that specializes in rescues and water rescues, things like that. And just like Chief Ricketson was saying, that's part of emergency management, them being prepared by having the barricades out, ready to go. That's a lot of what his job is and our job is to have it ready to go at a moment's notice.
Well, has the State Department of Emergency Management come in to assist us before with some kind of emergency?
Not since I've been involved with, not that I can think of, but they're just a phone call away.
Okay.
Right.
Within 24 hours, you can have a team here. There's teams all out the state. Like flooding down south, they'll call in resources from Louisiana, Parks and Wildlife out of Louisiana, Parks and Wildlife in Texas. States work together.
And we can get from other states as well. Like Chief Ricketson say, we pull from other states to come help us. As he was saying, like even the guy now, the Cajun Navy that helps out.
Yeah.
And they got a real big Facebook following. But it's a great group of guys that really that states actually recognize them now, where they come in and help out, and they're a great resource tool to use. So.
Yeah, that sounds great for them. What else? I don't mean to add to your plate, but you have certain duties that you always do.
Yeah, I'm also the chief of police as well.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, when they start thinking of emergency management, they think of the weather. But there's a whole lot more to emergency management than just the weather. Like a lot of the events we have downtown, a lot of the events we have all over the city, the stew contest, the football games, the concerts we have on the square, there's some part of emergency management involved in all of that. We have to think about where we're going to be able to get emergency services in there. How are we going to get them in? How are we going to get them out? How many people can we have in this certain area? There's a lot of planning that goes into a lot of these events. I think people just see emergency management as kind of a weather event, but it's a whole lot more than that.
I think Christy brought up the event that's coming ahead in October, maybe bringing the most people at one time, our 50th anniversary stew contest.
Yes, that's a lot of people to fit in one part of the county, or one part of the city. It's I think we're expected to hit over 10,000, which makes it a Homeland Security event. It's something that has to be passed up. The state has to know about it, and they pass it up to the federal level.
So we basically don't do anything different?
No, we always have plans in place.
Okay.
There's a lot of planning that goes into this. We work with Chamber of Commerce as well. We know we've got to be able to get emergency services in. How can we get people out? How to get the traffic around the town? Just because we have this event doesn't mean that we can't keep other people from having emergency services as well. Like you have parades, you cut off half the town when you have parades. We always have to be aware, keep those roadways open where we still get emergency services from one end of the town to the other. Same thing, events on the square. There's so much that goes into it. I think people that don't see, there's just a lot of planning involved with it. We got Joey Baker at the airport that has done this for many, many years, and he's a huge asset to the city, especially when it comes to planning these events.
Totally agree with that. Yeah.
As I've said to Chief Inslee and our other two interviews this month, it makes us feel cared for, here. And maybe we don't even, us citizens, may not think of all the different things that could happen or need to be planned for.
Well, like I said, we always plan for the worst and hope for the best. That's but we always have to plan for the worst. But there is a lot of planning that goes behind a lot of this that people don't see.
That's one thing that Chief Rickson for the city council, he reports to, and I report to the commissioner's court. The thing we always want to tell them is we got a plan for that.
I've heard you say that over and over. We've got a plan for that.
Well, we always have to plan for the worst, but that's just what we have to be prepared for.
Well, that's the wisest thing. What else can we discuss? This being Emergency Management, National Emergency Management Month, is that right?
Preparedness Month, right.
Preparedness Month.
Right. So it's really, again, with the city on their side, they have their own emergency operations center as well as the county has their own. But, we do work side by side. We're either on the phone with each other or we have some form of communication going during events. Like today, it just hit the city. It wasn't really affected out in the county. But those are things that we work with. Chief Rickson called me, tell me he might be not able to make today. When that would have been fine, we would have made it through it because that's part of our job. We never know when we're going to leave or start taking care of stuff. Of course, it never hits Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 when we're at work. It's always after hours or in the middle of the night. So that's our, you just got to be ready to go. So, and we also have provisions for, our own families because we have to leave them. And that's not even fun part of this job at all, is having to, make sure they're okay in those kind of instances.
Well, I think people like to know, and we have just a little bit of time, so you are some of our people that we really depend on. Chief Ricketson, Chief of Police here, and also Emergency Management, as we've been talking about. So tell us how you decided to take on this as a career. When did you make that decision?
I started early on. My dad was actually a game warden. He was here for quite a bit of time. My mom was actually city secretary here. So over the years, I just kind of made the decision to get into law enforcement and see where it led me, and this is where I'm at today.
Okay. We thank you for your years of service. How many years?
23.
Okay.
He's a little bit humble, too. He won't tell you that he's also did a little bit of the fireside out in the Brinker community out there. So that's what makes a well-rounded emergency management in all aspects of it, being well-rounded. And Christy's got background in EMS, a lot of years of that. So the only thing I don't have on that side, nor Christy, is law enforcement. But I think we're friends with them. They got our backs on that side of it.
This is a good community. We work really, really well together, from DPS all the way down from the state to the local level. You couldn't ask for a better county.
That's wonderful to hear. Well, Christy, when did you get the idea? It was in high school, right?
It was. Yes, I started EMT school when I was a senior in high school, and I was an EMT before I graduated, and I've held the certification for 17 years.
Okay. Well, thank you, too. And Chief, tell us about you, Chief Inslee.
I really got into the fire service just right after I graduated high school. Volunteered at the local fire department where I lived at in Cass County over in Queen City. A lot of people don't know where that's at, but that's where I got my start at, and fell in love with it and decided to go to Fire Academy and do it for a career. So that was back in '89, and I've either volunteered or been paid since that point. So it's been a little while. It flies by, really.
Well, busy days help the time pass quickly, and you look around and you've been doing what you do for a long time and gathering experience, helping people.
Right.
And you know that people are depending on you.
It's a big honor to get to do this job, and it's really the best job in the world if you really want to get down to it.
Well, we get so much support in this community. It's one of the best communities you could work in.
I totally agree with that. Coming from Cass County, there's a good group of people in Cass County, but this is my home. I don't plan on going back to Cass County. I have family there, but this is Hopkins County, my home, and Chief Ricketson is totally right. This is a great community.
Well, and our population is growing, and we have to grow to accommodate that in the ways that we prepare for emergencies, and we're doing that. Thank you all for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Take care out there on this wet Friday morning.
In sports, the Sulphur Bluff Lady Bears varsity and JV teams in volleyball won matches at Rivercrest on Tuesday. Head volleyball coach Zandra Payton said the Lady Bears varsity played great. She said they had a little trouble getting the ball to the target in each set, but played together to make plays. Coach Payton said the Lady Bears did a good job of hitting the ball to locations that took Rivercrest out of their system. The Lady Bears won 3-1 by the score of 25-23, 25-21, 21-25, and 25-20. Hannah Bird led Sulphur Bluff with 15 service points, and Coach Payton said Rivercrest actually called timeout twice during one of Bird's long runs of serve. Skylar Stanley had 10 kills and 2 blocks. Allie Colette had 8 service points, 28 assists, and 2 blocks. Delina Wilkins had 3 service points, 6 kills, and 1 block. Ann Dorner had 11 service points and 7 kills. Sierra Johnson had 2 service points and 3 kills. Angel Brown had 4 service points. Tori Rainey had 2 service points and 4 kills. Jada Wade had 2 kills. The Sulphur Bluff JV won over Rivercrest by the score of 2-1. Lost the first set 18-25, but then the JV rallied to win the match 25-22 and 25-21. And that's Channel 18 TV News for today. I'm Don Julian. Thank you for joining me, and so long, everybody.